Hi, welcome everyone to the week 1 of Food Mood. As we saw in the introductory presentation, I hope now we are all familiar with how to measure our basal metabolic rate. It is very individual specific, and now in this module we will see how do we balance out these calories amongst different foods. So let's get started without further delay. So first let us look at what are we eating today. If we look at our diet, it is very white, yellow, brown, pale, bland and very processed these days. So all of these are associated with yellow and brown sort of a color. If we look at the French fries, the breads, the buns, the chicken, the burgers, the onion rings, Zinger from KFC, Mac Chicken from McDonald's, and so on and so forth, and pizzas and noodles and so on. So the whole world of the fast food and the convenience food is very brown in nature, so to say. But let us also look at what is available to us. Yes. So these are the foods which are available to us, and they occur in the nature. They come with their own shelf life and they come with their own packaging, and they are not processed. Yes. So the next question is, okay, in which format are these available to us? Doesn't the picture look very gorgeous? Yes. So as you can see, we have all sorts of colors in the food like purple, blue, yellow, brown, red, orange, green, so on and so forth. So all the rainbow colors. So now let us look at what are the different formats in which it is available to us. So they occur in the form of fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, legumes, even flowers, edible flowers, herbs and spices. But if they're available in so many formats, then how come that we are not having all of them? The reason we are not eating it so often is because we are overcooking things. We are sticking to our favorites. We like certain 4-5 dishes and we tend to make those again and again. We are sticking to convenience foods these days with Swiggy, Zomato, Amazon. Our life has become super convenient. At the click of the button, the food is ready for us and delivered to us in 20-25 minutes, maybe even 10-15 minutes nowadays. When we have and we are pressed for time, we have absolutely no time. So obviously there's a lot of competition that Rainbow Food has when we compare it with these convenience foods and fast foods. Other problem is they don't taste as good. And the reason for that is because our taste buds are so used to the processed foods and to the over salted, over sweet kind of fruits that we don't appreciate the subtle tastes of the rainbow foods. It requires a lot of planned purchase. Yes, you need to go to the grocery, or even when you are ordering online, it requires a planned purchase from your side. It is not click the button and the dish is ready. Sometimes it is, but at the moment, we have other options of fast foods which are much easier and much tastier, so to say. We feel that we can make it up with supplements and protein powders and super green foods, and we are heavily reliant on processed foods. A very famous line I would like to share here, that we are not eating what comes from the plants, but we are eating what is made in the plants. So keep that in mind as a food for thought. Now, first of all, let's look at what are processed foods. Now, our body has different physiological processes, around 7 of them, like endocrine system, circulatory system, respiratory system, so on and so forth. Now, for all the functioning of the body, we need to have all the macronutrients. We need to have the sugars. We need to have the fats. We need to have the carbs. We need to have the proteins. So all this fad about going on a low carb diet, or going on a low sugar diet, or a keto diet or a paleo diet. So The idea here is that our body needs all of these macronutrients, but in a balanced form. Now, sugar, let's talk about sugar. Sugar is very important for the body. Our cells are regenerated on a daily basis. Now, to create these new cells, we need sugars and we need carbs. So if we go on a low carb diet, we are going to have other problems such as anxiety, mood swings, headaches, depressions, and it is going to impact our other physiological processes in different ways. So eliminating sugars or carbs is not the right approach for any form of diet that you're doing. Now let us look at in which format we are having sugars these days. So when we talk about processing, the way sugar occurs naturally in the world is sugarcane. Now, sometimes we process this sugarcane into a sugarcane juice, which is again a very healthy format. So if we look at the sugarcane, it has a well-balanced combination of sugar, water and fiber. All of them come together in a package, and our body it can handle this very well. It is going to process it over a time so that we don't have a sugar spike, and it knows how to digest it well. But what do we do now? We make the sugarcane juice out of it. That again is still very healthy, and in summer, especially in northern parts of India, it's very common to have sugarcane juice for cooling your body down, for instant energy, and it's a very healthy choice. But in the sugarcane juice, the fiber has been removed. The water and the sugar component is still there. Now, we process it further and start boiling this juice to separate the molasses and jaggery, and that is how we get our gur or jaggery. This jaggery is further processed into the plants and we get brown sugar, which is more uniform granules of sugar in the brown format. Again, brown sugar also has a lot of varieties. Now this brown sugar is further processed into white sugar. That is what we consume in our kitchen. That uniform granules, white looking, shiny, polished, refined sugar, and that is what we are consuming in our kitchen. Now we can process it even further and make castor sugar by powdering the whole white sugar even further, which is used for our baking, cakes, cookies, etc. So you see the amount, we have had like almost 6 steps of processing on the sugar cane, and we are consuming the last 2 in our daily life. The number 5, white sugar in our kitchen, and the number 6, castor sugar in baked goods like breads, cakes, sweets, cookies, so on and so forth. Now look at how far we have come away from naturally occurring form of sugar. Now, the idea is that if we keep on going further and further into the processed forms of macronutrients, there is going to be a sugar spike in our blood levels. Because the body is not equipped enough when the sugar is released into the body, where it comes along with water, along with fiber, such as in the case of sugar cane, then the sugar release process is very slow. However, if I have a spoon of white sugar just like that, imagine the kind of blood sugar spike that I'm going to have in my body. The idea here is I am not expecting that you will start sitting with a sugar cane and do away with your complete white sugar. That's not the idea here. The idea here is to understand what processing does to our naturally occurring substances. So in the process of whenever we are processing anything which is naturally occurring, we are removing away its good qualities. We are removing away the fibers. We are maybe removing away the water content or maybe its nutrient value. And what comes to us is a more concentrated form of calories, more concentrated form of taste, more concentrated form of sugars, and sometimes we also add preservatives to it so that it has a long shelf life, so that nothing happens to the food over a 1 month, 2 month, 3 month period. Now you can imagine that anything that occurs in the nature is going to get spoiled soon, unless and until we have added preservatives to that. And that process is happening in the plants, not the naturally occurring plants, but in the factories and the plants where the food is manufactured and processed. So the idea here is, Even if you can move if you are using number 6, can you move to number 5, and gradually can you move to number 4, and then can you move to number 3. So it is very specific to each kind of food. But if you are aware that you can make this movement which is for a more naturally occurring form of sugars or any other macronutrients, the health choices that you make will be much healthier, and the body will be well equipped to handle them. Similar story goes with processed grains. So we have whole wheat, we grind it in the chuckies, and sometimes we remove the husk out of it to get the nice looking white finished roti, which is the whole wheat flour, and we further refine it to make the all-purpose flour, which is maida, again used for baked goods, and then we use this all-purpose maida for our breads and cookies and cakes and so on and so forth. Now, how can we make these modifications? I cannot have the whole wheat as such. So how do I move from 3 to 1? So the one option here is you can have the choice. If you're getting the atta from chakki, you have the choice of not removing the husk. On the other hand, you can also mix your own millets and grains which are available in India very widely. Like there is bajra, there is jowar, there is sattu, there is gram flour, there is soya, and there are so many. There is amaranth, there is buckwheat. So you can grind them and mix it along with your wheat as well to make it more grainy, to make it more fibrous, and to make it nutrient dense, rather than having just the plain whole wheat atta, which is going to give you the calories, but it is not going to give you the required amount of fiber and the nutrient that the nature had planned to give you through that food or grain. So that's the idea here. Okay, now let's look at this cycle of hunger pangs when we eat processed foods. When we are hungry, we reach out and press the button for processed foods. Now these processed foods are concentrated in the amount of calories they have. They go into our body, but they are very easily assimilated and digested in our body. Because of which our body gets a shock and we have a sugar spike. But what happens in half an hour, 1 hour? The food has been digested, the intestine is again asking for more, the stomach is asking for more, and we feel hungry again. And if we keep on making if we keep on going in this circle of making the choice of processed foods, we will feel full for a short time, we'll get hungry again. We'll eat more, we'll have more calories, but we will be hungry again. And that's how the cycle continues. On the other hand, if we are using unprocessed food or non-refined grains, it is going to keep us full for longer. Very simple example is white rice versus brown rice. Now, if we look at the calorific value, it is very similar for both brown rice and white rice. So it is a myth that you will have weight loss by having brown rice because you're having less calories. That is not the case. But the brown rice will have a lot of fiber, a lot of nutrients in it, and this fiber is difficult for the body to digest. So hence it is going to be in your body for longer. The digestion is going to take that bit longer, and even more energy is going to be consumed to digest that kind of a grain or a rice. So that is why the idea of brown rice being a better choice over white rice. It's more of a difference between non-refined grain versus a refined grain. Now, there is no dearth of jargons in nutrition. I can throw as many terminologies at you like antioxidants, phytonutrients, lycopene, mineral balance, anthocyanins, tryptophans, so on and so forth. But the idea here is not that. You don't need to understand why are we talking about colorful foods here. The only thing that you have to remember at this point is that variety is important. All you need to do is whenever you're having a meal, you need to make sure that you have multiple colors in your plate, not just brown, not just yellow, not just pale. Can you make an attempt to add a little bit of red, a little bit of green, a little bit of yellow, a little bit of purple, a little bit of orange? Maybe not in every meal, but try and look at your plate when you are having your food and try to add colors to it. This itself is going to solve 80% of your problem. And so what are the three things here that we are going to keep in mind? One, color. Do I have color in my plate? Second, variety. We tend to choose the same vegetables, same dishes over and over again because they become our favorites. But it is important to expand our palate, because if you are eating variety on your food, then automatically your diseases, your are going to be taken care of. And creativity, of course, it is important. Like, how do we make sure that we are having so many colors in our plate? So you got to get creative here, right? So let's see how we can combine these foods, and what are some of the rules what we can follow. Okay, so one thing, let's first talk about colors. So the compounds that give color to the food are called phytonutrients. Now, these compounds have been given to these vegetables and fruits not only for looking beautiful and colorful, but they have a bigger purpose. They are available in the plants so that the plants can safeguard themselves from their daily dangers, from the risks associated, because they are available in the wild. So how do they protect themselves? So these phytonutrients are the ones which help them to safeguard themselves. Now, I don't know how many of you are aware about the chakra system in our body. We have 7 chakras in our body, and each of them are associated with a different color. Now, here over the next few weeks, not right now because otherwise it will become too much information in one presentation. So here what I briefly want to say is that now each color is associated with the chakra. So you will through these modules, you will also understand how these foods, these colorful foods, are not only balancing your nutrition, they are also balancing your emotions. They are balancing your mood, and they are going to be extremely important in reversing your diseases, because when we are eating the variety of these colors, that is when our physiological processes are working in harmony, and we are enabling them to improve our immunity, to improve our biomarkers, to control our sugar levels, and to reduce the amount of cholesterol in the body. So at the moment, we will not get into any further details on this, but all you have to remember is that try to make your plate colorful. More colors you have, the better it is. Now, since we are on the topic of food mood, let us also understand how is food related to mood. Now, we have certain happy hormones in our body like serotonin and dopamine. Now, these are the happy hormones and they make us feel good. Now, it might come to your mind that, what are the kind of foods that make me happy? And you start thinking about maybe cold coffee or French fries or burger or pizza or something like that. But you have to remember that these are not the foods which are going to release the happy hormones in your body. Instead, the complex carbs and proteins are the ones which are going to release dopamine in your body, such as eggs, nuts and seeds, fruits and vegetables, salmon, green tea, yogurt, colorful foods, and dark chocolate. Now, you might think that this doesn't seem like it is going to be releasing dopamine, and let me explain why. Now, let us look at the dopamine blocking foods. So these are highly processed carbs which give you a very fast rise, and immediately after eating you will also experience a low of energy. So what are these dopamine blocking foods? Which means they're not going to make you feel good. Now look at the list. It is cakes, sweets, sugar, chips, red meats, refined grains, fried foods. Okay. Now you might ask me at this moment that no, this seems like the food that usually makes me feel very happy, and I'm eating outside with friends, and yes, and it is a very valid question you have in mind. But here I want to say that when you have these foods, you have an instant sugar spike, you have an instant rise of energy, and that will give you a very momentary a good feel good feeling, but it is going to die down very fast. You will also experience a low of energy after having that food, which will make you to feel like that you want to go back to that food again, which means that these foods are also addictive in nature. So when you have it, you will feel good for maybe half an hour, 1 hour, and then you will start feeling uncomfortable. And now you want to again experience that feeling of good. So what will you do? You will have a tendency to go back to these foods. So you see how the cycle repeats. So these are not dopamine releasing foods. They are actually dopamine blocking foods, and they are not feel good. They are not good hormone releasing foods. On the contrary, as what you have thought. So what do we do here? So what is our takeaway? So here in this module, the idea of this module is not to tell you that you need to go plant-based or you need to have only vegetables. The idea is not that. You can stick to your lifestyle. But what we are going to say is that try and have 5 to 7 servings per day of fruits and vegetables combined. Which means if you have 2 snacks in a day, at least one of your snacks should be just a fruit, one kind of fruit, seasonal fruit. Now, let's look at the vegetables. Oh my God, how am I going to have 4 vegetables, 4 servings of vegetables? So, the way to do it is, suppose you're having 3 meals in a day, breakfast, lunch and dinner. For breakfast, if you are having an omelette, can you add some veggies to your omelette like onions, tomatoes, some greens? And if you are having a bread instead of butter, can you put an avocado on top of that? Or you can be creative and like have just a slice of lettuce along with your omelette. If you are having a bread omelette, then can you have a slice of lettuce? Similarly, for your lunch, you can have any vegetable. Plus, you can add a little bit of salad with your greens and maybe some colorful tomatoes, bell peppers, and so on. So you will get, as long as you're having this rule that, okay, I need to have 5 servings per day of fruits and vegetables, you will be conscious about mixing your food and having colors in your plate. And for that, you can have it in raita, you can have it as a salad, you can have it if you're making a dal, you can add some spinach to it, you can add some lauki to it, you can just have like, some vegetable mixed into that, and that is your 1 serving of vegetable done, even if you're having dal. Similarly, if you're having rice, can you have a little tadka of veggies in that? Make it like more like a vegetable rice rather than just plain rice. So these are the ways in which you are going to incorporate more vegetables in your daily consumption. 1 serving per day of nuts and seeds, which means like maybe 5 to 6 almonds and some seeds. It can be pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, flax seeds, chia seeds, any form of seeds that you can have. Mixing and matching is good as well. 1 to 2 servings of beans. Now, it has been seen. So there are some blue zones in the world where people have seen to live more than 100 years. And one of the things that has been observed commonly amongst these people is that they have 1 to 2 servings of beans every day. So this I would recommend, even if you're a non-vegetarian, I would still recommend you having at least 1 serving of bean every day. Now these are some guiding principles which you can use to have diversity into your diet. This will not only help in your balanced nutrition, but it will also help the gut microbiome in your body. But it will also help the gut microbiome in your body. So here's a very interesting case study of 2 groups. In one, people had a chicken burger, and in the other one, they had added an avocado slice in that chicken burger. Now, almost 4 hours after the meal, you can see that the people who had just the chicken burger showed a huge spike in their inflammation biomarkers, whereas people who combined their burger with the avocado did not see the same spike. That is what adding fruits and vegetables to your meals does. This is actually a very famous research, and you can Google it if you like. Now, so let's come to the homework of week 1. So as we discussed, have at least 5 servings of fruits and vegetables on a daily basis. In the night, whenever you have your food and next day when you break your fast, you should have at least a 12 to 14 hours gap in the night. For the first 3 days, can you journal what you eat? Now, this is only for you. The idea here is you don't have to watch what you are, you don't have to change what you are eating, but you just have to journal whatever you are eating and at the time that you are eating. The reason being that many people have a tendency to eat every 1 hour, and that is an indication for you that you should probably increase the portion size of your breakfast or your proper meal so that you don't keep on feeling hungry continuously, because once you've had the meal, the body needs 2 to 3 hours of gap to even digest that. So this will help you in understanding your pattern of eating. Some of the tips that I would leave you with is, if you are used to having tea with your breakfast, please don't have tea with your meal. The reason being because tea inhibits the absorption of nutrients and minerals, which means you might be having good food, but the nutrient value is not going to come to you if you are having tea along with your food. Number two, humans and guinea pigs are the only two beings which cannot make their own vitamin C. So it is an important supplement that you should be having. Do not use coconut oil for cooking because it has a lot of saturated fats. Instead, you can use olive oil or ghee in moderation. Talking about cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower, kale, uh, these cruciferous vegetables are very important to detoxify your body and help your immune system. So whenever you are having your daily dose of 5 to 7 servings of fruits and vegetables, try to have at least one serving of cruciferous vegetable wherever possible. Yes, so I would love for you to pen down what are your 3 key takeaways from this presentation, and hope you can make the most of it. Stay tuned, and there is a lot more coming your way related to food and mood. Thank you.